Before I begin my speech, let me express my regret for coming here a few minutes late. I was deceived by the bright sunshine outside. Such bright sunshine at 6 p.m. is not a possibility in Calcutta. That deceived me. And when Swami Bhomananda came to take me, I was not quite ready. And I had to come a little bit late. I hope you will not mind it. Yesterday, we had the great pleasure of consecrating this temple and installing the image of Sri Ramakrishna in it. The dream of several years and also of several Mahants, as was realized yesterday, it became a reality, and Sri Ramakrishna has taken a seat here for the good of the whole of Gujarat. This temple would not have been a possibility but for the cooperation we received from the general public or from all over Gujarat. We have received financial help from various persons, expert advice from various engineers and artists for rural painting and so on. And last but not the least, the laborers who built this temple inch by inch. To all of them goes my thanks on behalf of the organization. Sri Krishna has told in the Bhagavad to Uddhava that those who take part in whatever way in building a temple and installing his image in it will always be getting his grace. So all those who have cooperated in the building of this temple are surely, according to the promise given by the Lord, will get his grace. We are today in India in a confused condition. All over India we find that there is not any sign of unity. We want to integrate this homogeneous humanity into a great nation. That is the attempt which all of us who are patriots of India are trying to do by different ideals, through political ideals, through economic ideals and so on. But to integrate a nation, we want three good things. First of all, we must have a common ideal, and then there must be a common struggle by the whole nation for it, and then their common achievement. This has not been so in the history of India in any other field like politics or economics, but in the field of religion. India selected a great ideal as religion and moksha. It may be correct or it may be wrong, but that it has been. And Swamiji says, after all, it is not a bad idea. When all other nations, which are other ideals, have vanished away from the face of the earth, India still lives because of this ideal. So, religion is the field, and through religion alone, we can integrate this great homogeneous mass into a great nation. But you may say, how can it be possible through religion? We have so many religions in India who are at each other's throat. We have Hinduism, we have Islam, Christianity, Jainism, Buddhism and so on. How can we integrate these people, followers of these different religions, which do not see eye to eye with each other, into one great nation? The answer has been given by Sri Ramakrishna. He has practiced religion according to different religions' ideas, and ultimately he found that all religions lead to the same ultimate goal, that to God's realization. And so he declared the truth, Jatam Mohat Tattva Path. as many religions, so many ways toward realization. So, this harmony of religions was lived and preached by Sri Ramakrishna. And this temple that you see here and the image is a symbol of this unity and harmony of religions. So anybody of any religion can come and pray here, whether he is a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian or a Buddhist or everyone will find Sri Ramakrishna his home, and this temple is open to everyone. Another thing is that we are in India people of various ethnic backgrounds, so many languages and so many customs and social customs. All these different in different parts of India, which is a subcontinent. How will you integrate them into a great nation? This also has been answered by Sri Ramakrishna. He found that behind every human being is the Atman. Deep behind is the Atman, whatever be the superficial differences. So, whatever be the race or religion or nationality or education or status in the society, whatever be they, rich or poor, educated or not educated, everyone are equal in his eyes, because behind all of them is the Atman. So he made no differences between man and man. Now this ideal, Atman behind everyone, is the only thing which can unite us into a nation. Removing all differences, ignoring all differences, superficial differences as exist today between man and man. Not only in India, but all over the world, this ideal of Atman is bringing a new revolution. People have been trying to find out a basis for a common world, one world, as they call it. But they have not been able to find out any basis. But Sri Ramakrishna has given this basis, that if we have to build this on the reality that every human being is divine, behind everyone is the Atman, and from that standpoint if we look and deal with persons, then there will be no, in spite of all the differences, we will be one humanity, one world. Similarly, he has given another idea, that is to serve people with the idea that we are serving Shiva. We are serve Jiva as Shiva. Now this will help us to raise our ordinary social service to a state of worship, and will help us to proceed spiritually also. And also this idea of service will, instead of demanding our rights according to our constitution, we demand our rights. But if we demand our duties, if we are aware of our duties, then that will be a great help, because what is another's right is my duty. And so if I forget my duty towards others, it becomes difficult to pull on. So if the stress is laid on duty, service, then there will be a great change in our outlook. So all these, I am just mentioning a few of the ideas that Sri Ramakrishna gave to the world. These ideas are what the potential in them to mold the thought current of the whole world. And in fact it is doing it now. And slowly a new era, a new civilization is being ushered in this world in the place of the old one which is dilapidating. We are not able to see it because it goes on in a very slow manner. Whereas the destructive side you see every day, and we become rather hopeless about the future of the world. But these great ideas that Sri Ramakrishna gave to the world will surely change the outlook of people. will mold the thought current of the world and usher in a new era, a new civilization, which is already emerging. We are, as it were, at the end of a epoch and on the threshold of a new one. So this temple of Sri Ramakrishna, wherever it may be, either in Rajkot or Calcutta or Madras or anywhere, remind us of these great ideals. And it is only by adopting this message of Sri Ramakrishna that we can become again a great nation. We have to unite under his banner. And Swamiji said, Sri Ramakrishna is India and India is Sri Ramakrishna's. We must remember that this ideal alone will unite us into a great nation. May His grace be on all of us, is my prayer to Him. Thank you.
President Maharaj, revered elders and loving brothers, respected Chief Minister, respected Chief Justice of the state, and friends. Since I am to speak tomorrow morning, I reserve what all I have to say on the subject of Sri Ramakrishna, the Upanishads and the Gita for tomorrow morning, because evening is already advanced. I would like to confine my speech to a few brief remarks about Sri Ramakrishna and the blessing we hope to derive from his advent. I was very much impressed by a song composed by the late Qazi Nazrul Islam, the Muslim poet, revolutionary poet of Bengal, on Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda. In that song there is one beautiful line. If I recite it today, you will feel it is out of sorts in India. But you will realize that these great ideas and inspirations are not just for the moment. They are to educate the people in course of time to make them worthy of this great advent of Sri Ramakrishna. The line says, Satya Yuger Punya Smriti Tu Kadite Anite Tumi Tapas. You, holy personality, brought the memory and experience of Satya Yuga in this Kali Yuga. Today there is so much of Kali around us, so much of evil, so much of violence, so much of corruption, and yet here is a great poet, a revolutionary poet, presenting Sri Ramakrishna as one who brought the memory of Satya Yuga to our people in this Kali Yuga. What a beautiful idea. Those who study Sri Ramakrishna's life will realize that he manifested within himself the purest elements of every religion, heightening man's awareness, making man aware not only of God within, but of his infinite relationship with man outside, a deepening of man's spiritual awareness and a broadening of his human sympathies. What more are needed to bring Satya Yuga into this country? But a great teacher comes and lives a life, leaves a great example, and leaves it to the people to imbibe it and slowly manifest it. It is a challenge to the people of India that Sri Ramakrishna offers today. If he can bring that memory of Satya Yuga by developing our character and developing a man-made awareness, a humanistic impulse by which we can love man and serve him we can certainly bring Satya Yuga into this country. Our nation, when it became independent, adopted for its motto that great phrase from the Upanishads, Satyameva Jayate. Today, as you become devoted to Sri Ramakrishna, you have to ask that question, am I becoming an instrument of that great vision of bringing the memory of Satya Yuga into this country? Greater character strength, greater human love and service, if these things can come out of us through our devotion to Sri Ramakrishna, then his advent is perfectly valid. Today, for the first time, we have to realize that to worship a great incarnation is not only by worship with flowers, but worship with one's life, character, conduct, behavior. Sri Ramakrishna emphasized it in his own teachings. Swami Vivekananda spread it throughout the world. And we who think we are devotees of Sri Ramakrishna can live that devotion, something great will happen to this country. We have plenty of spiritual inspiration in India. Such gigantic personalities do not come everywhere nor every time. Once in a few thousand years, you get a personality of the status of Sri Ramakrishna. His life was a blazing divinity itself. A beautiful Sanskrit verse explains Sri Ramakrishna's personality. Yesterday and today, we had a festival. Those who participated here in the proceedings of the temple opening and today's procession, what did you experience? A festival of joy. Sri Ramakrishna's life was a perpetual festival of joy, says that verse. We have it only once a year or once in 50 years, this kind of festival. But imagine the life of Ramakrishna was a perpetual festival. Why was it so? How was it so? Because in him, the very incarnation of joy, that is God himself, was fully manifest. That is the Sanskrit verse which says, Nityotsavam bhavatyesham, Nityashri, Nityamangalam, Yesham Hrutistho Bhagavan, Mangalayatano Harihi. He in whose heart Hari is manifest. What kind of Hari? Mangalayatano, the ocean of Mangala, the ocean of Kalyana, the ocean of Shri, that is Hari. If that Hari is manifested in a person, what happens to that person? Nityotsavam bhavatyesham. His life becomes a perpetual utsava, a perpetual festival. Exactly what M describes Sri Ramakrishna and the Gospel of Ramakrishna. His room was a perpetual festival. That is the description given there. Nitya Shri, all that is good, all that is welfare to the people will come through that great character. Nitya Mangalam, Yesham Hrutistho Bhagavan, Mangalayatano Harihi. That is Sri Ramakrishna. If a fraction of that joy can come to us, what a blessed life it will be. A bit of manifestation of the Hari that is within us can transform the human situation. That is why Vivekananda defined the whole subject of a religion in the most precise scientific language as the manifestation of the divinity already in man. Just imagine that the people of India getting acquainted with Sri Ramakrishna, Swamiji, the Holy Mother, trying to manifest that divinity that is within them. What a tremendous spiritual strength will come to the nation. Ethical strength will come to the nation. A sense of joy, a sense of human relationship will come to all of us. That is the blessing that is lying hidden in this great manifestation known as Sri Ramakrishna. He is an extraordinary manifestation. The spirit of love and service to man is so prominent in the message and the personality of Sri Ramakrishna, Swamiji and the Holy Mother, without any distinction of caste, creed or color. We never mention the Holy Mother much, but what a remarkable personality was Sri Sharada Devi, a simple, rural woman, yet an infinite heart of a mother, where the Hindu, the Muslim, the Christian is just her own children, without any distinction of caste, creed and color. So we have these three great personalities, Sri Ramakrishna, Swamiji, the Holy Mother. Apart from the number of other disciples, in every one of them you found this beautiful confluence of love of God and love and service of man. If that can be imbibed by the people, even a fraction, what great spiritual, ethical and material strength will come to the whole nation. Then we can have the Satyuga in this country itself. That is the blessing that is pronounced by this great Advent on all of us and all people in all parts of the world. It is for us to justify the Advent of Sri Ramakrishna. If you are devotees of Ramakrishna and the number is increasing year by year, thousands, millions in all parts of the world, the only question we ask is, do we deserve to be a disciple or a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna? How shall we make ourselves fit for it? Only two answers will come from us. One, deepening our spiritual awareness. Second, broadening our human sympathies. If these two can be manifested in a single individual, he or she will be the beginning of Satyuga in this country. Thank you all.